Everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day. The window is closed. That's right, the transfer window. Mind you, Newcastle United's transfer window was a bit similar to a broken down, battered, smashed, boarded up window. It's some abandoned fairground somewhere, but nobody's having fun in this transfer window and in terms of Newcastle United stance at all. Yeah, not a very good window really at all. Now, what's the reason for it? I was all set to come in here and effing blindly kick off, scream, steam the windows up in the rant mobile and everything else as well. But I've kind of calmed a little bit in terms of my feelings about it. But I'm still a little bit annoyed at the lack of activity. So the real reason Newcastle United have done nothing in this transfer window, much like the real reason no Premier League club or many clubs have done anything in this transfer window, 3 initials, FFP. What a load of crap this whole thing is, to be honest with you. Let's get it right. They introduced this thing back in 2017 with losses of 109 million. It's not tracked inflation like everything else in the fucking world. So that thing's wrong completely as well. So the likes of Everton and Forest have got due course and due right to feel pissed off and aggrieved that they've been done by this ridiculous set of rules. Because it should be around about £200 million losses if it tracked with inflation alone, which has been ridiculous over the last few years. I mean, your loaf of bread's gone up. Of course, your fucking players have gone up. You're paying 40 million for a kid who would have been 12 million probably about 5 or 6, 7 years ago. That's the way football goes. You've got all the agent fees and all the image rights and all the other bollocks that goes on top of it. So contracts cost a fortune these days for players. It isn't just transfer fees, it's everything else on top of it. Goal scoring bonus, etc. So this kind of a thing has not been taken into account at all when it comes to FFP. We all know what it was. Let's get it right. It was to protect the greedy 6. But even the greedy 6 are now being affected by the FFP. Manchester United are struggling to get players in and out because they're hemorrhaging costs as well and they're starting to lose money. So maybe, just maybe, this thing might start to get turned around a little bit. And I think that's the real reason why Darren Eales did what he did and said what he said. I was a bit miffed when he did it at the time, as everybody else was, because it started to, encourage the buzzards to circle around St James's Park, trying to pick away Trippier, Wilson, Isak, Bruno, anybody else you could talk about. But I think there was method in the madness from Darren Eales and the club, and a very clever, methodical, cerebral process, I think, that they were doing with this. So by talking about it every single chance they get, Eddie Howe talks about it all the time, but by coming out and talking about it in such an intellectual, kind of precise, focused way like Darren Eales did, I think it turned the heat up on that oven that is FFP, and it shone the spotlight on how difficult the FFP is making clubs, with their ability to compete and buy the best. And it isn't just Newcastle United, it's everybody. And I think this heat is really getting turned up now on the Premier League. Now, we all know there's a meeting coming next month where I think things are going to be discussed. And there's talk already about the rules slightly changing. That's why it's morphing from FFP to PSR. And they're talking about implementing something where there's £25 million working capital within the club's accounts. And you can show, physically show that you can take the hit if you lose a sponsor or something like that, and you've got money to basically back you up. So for the likes of us, who are 80% owned by one of the richest powers in the world in the PIF, 25 million quid, overdraft ain't going to be a problem for Newcastle United. So maybe the club have decided to take a stance of taking a knee this transfer window, running the gauntlet a little bit with the view to putting pressure on the Premier League to change the rules. So come the summer, we'll have more ability to spend. We've got the seller money, we've got the Adidas money, and if the FFP is morphed into PSR, which means you just have to have working capital in and basically show that your owners can cover the costs if you drop a sponsor or you have a bit of a mare, then Newcastle United will be in a much better position to spend in the summer and spend big, which could possibly be, a good method for the club to do what they're doing. Now, is it a gamble? Of course it's a gamble. The reason it's a gamble is because this squad is threadbare anyway. And coming into January, we're lacking bodies massively. We had the Sandro Tonali situation. Harvey Barnes, his foot's made a Rivita. But Joe Linton's knackered. Wilson and Isak are perpetually injured. They're almost playing a game of tag. You're injured between the two of them. Not both of them are fit at the same time. And there's major problems in the squad. Now, to go into this window, regardless of the FFP scenario, whatever game you're trying to play of Russian roulette between you and the Premier League, we needed bodies. That's a simple fact, right? People are getting all excited about Alfie Harrison from Man City. And listen, the kid might be mint for all I know, but is he going to go straight in the first team? Probably not. Will he be on the bench? Maybe, because we've got no players. But with Willock not too far away, Harvey Barnes may be on the bench at the weekend. then you won't see Alfie Harrison getting much game time. He'll go back into the reserves, and we may not see him for a few years. You got to ask yourself the question: why have City let him go if he's that good? People are saying he's supposed to be the next Phil Foden. I don't think they would have let him go if he was the next Phil Foden. So I'm not buying into that, to be honest with you. Listen, I hope the lad's class. I really do. I hope he's brilliant. He looks like a pound shop Haaland. If he's half the player, we'll be all right. But no offense to him. But no, for me, I hope he is a really good player, right? But he's not going to be a player for the now. Not at all, right? We're citing some very talented young 18, 19-year-olds. Minter's a great example, right? He's smashing it over and fine on. But the club didn't put any buyback clauses or a clause to bring him back if we were fucked either, which is, again, was an oversight. Maybe they didn't think the kid was going to be as good as he's turned out to be. But fucking hell, if we were buying that lad now in the transfer market, they'd probably want 40 million quid for the lad. He's absolutely brilliant. His stats are right up there with some of the best wingers in Europe. And why the club couldn't bring him back in January if we couldn't bring bodies in, then fuck me, I don't know what's going on there. We can't bring bodies in. We can't even fork out a loan fee for Calvin Phillips, who's gone to West Ham. Yes, he had a shitter of a touch for the Solanke goal of the day, but I still think he'll come good there, and he would have given us cover in midfield with a bit of physicality that we just don't have. There's been no Saudi loans whatsoever. What the fuck happened with that? I don't get that at all. Yes, would have had to invest in the wages for the next 6 months or whatever, but you get that money back. PIF could pay 70% of those wages, we could pay 30, and you could get 2 or 3 bodies into the first team who would have really improved the quality of the squad, and we haven't done that either. So in terms of a window, it's been a shit window in my opinion. The good news on Isak, maybe the injury isn't too bad, but that's this injury. What about the next one, and the next one, and the next one? And the same with Callum Wilson. We're running a serious gauntlet here, relying on, and listen, they're all really good players. Isak, Wilson, Barnes, Willock, and Anderson. If you can get them all fit and in this squad, we're absolutely cooking, right? But if you keep them fit, they haven't been able to stay fit all season. So what's going to change? I mean, we brought in this new head of physio. It was a Johnny King, used to be at Bournemouth with Eddie. Seems to be some kind of, TARDIS type fucking portal from Bournemouth to Newcastle, I think. Don't bother to get the train, guys. Just step through the TARDIS and you'll be up there. But he's got to make things better behind the scenes, because this injury crisis in Newcastle has been fucking atrocious. I've never known anything like it. Not just at Newcastle, but any football club. So many high-profile injuries to so many high-profile players. Muscular injuries as well. Recovery, treatment, whatever it is, communication, it's all fucking shit. So that needs to change. So the club have done the right thing there. But ending this window with just a young lad from City who may not even get a game for 2 years is not a good window for me. I think the club have dropped a real bollock there. The likes of Hugo Ekitike going to Frankfurt. Why don't we get him in on loan for 6 months? He's a body, he's young, he can get goals, he's got talent. He could have done the job if Isak breaks down again, or Wilson doesn't get back in time, or breaks down again when he's back. So we're running a huge gauntlet here. I get it, I understand it. I understand FFP. Before anybody comes at me in the comments, I totally get that, right? But we are gambling here. We are running a gauntlet on 5 or 6, albeit very good players, getting fit and staying fit for the rest of the season. Yes, we're only down to 1 game a week because we're out of World Cup competitions, which isn't great, and that's because we had a light squad. That's why we're out of all those competitions. Simple as that. So the very thing we're praising is the very thing that's caused us the reason to be out of those competitions. But going forward, if those players are fit and stay fit, we should be fine. We could finish top 7, maybe top 6. If we win the cup, that's a great season. But those players could all break down, and they have broken down at various points this season, and we could end up in real shit again and just limp over the line in the Premier League. We're not going to get relegated. We're not in any danger of getting relegated, but we could end up in mid-table mediocrity with no cup in the trophy cabinet. Having a cup the trophy cabinet for fucking 60 odd years, that doesn't really make a difference. But we could end up with a really bad season just because of the injuries and the lack of squad depth, and then be regretting this January window that we didn't make 2 or 3 loan signings. And I just feel like the club are really rolling the dice here. I hope it pays off. I really do. I don't want to limp through the season and end up 13th or 14th or something like that. I don't want that to happen. That's a Mike Ashley season. Those years should be long gone. But the club has took a gamble here. I hope that gamble pays off, and I hope they go big in the summer. Let us know what you guys think about the transfer window. Do you feel the same as me? Do you think we should have got 1 or 2 bodies in on loan? Should we have tried to recall Garang Kwal and Minter and fucking damn the consequences? 2 19-year-olds who could play in an attacking position. Nothing was done like that at the club. We even let strikers go. Let some of our young strikers go to some, third-rate Scottish division team, which I just don't understand the development structure there either. But some serious questions need to be asked, in my opinion. You can't just hide behind FFP. Other clubs brought players in on loan to try and plug the holes in their squad. Why didn't we do it? Let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Subscribe, like the video. It's all free content, never more. If you want to be a member, there is an option down there too. Smash whichever option suits you best. Have a great weekend. Let's hope we smash Luton and keep the winning train rolling down the tracks. Have a good one, everyone. See you later. Cheers.